boy Creator RKU, and today we got a very special guest. We got Absunti in the building, man. How's it feel, man? How's it feel?
Happy to be here. What is today, Thursday?
Yeah, today is Thursday on this great April 2026. Oh, yeah.
Can you believe it's already April?
Time is moving, bro. It's moving fast. How old are you, bro?
30.
You can tell the people at home a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what you got going on.
Wow, this is like a long time coming. I go by the name of Absunti from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I do music, I do poetry, I do a little filming on the side, and also I do acting now in these nice recent years. So you can find me Absunti, ABSUNTI on all platforms. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. Yeah, that's where I keep the tunes at. But yeah, been doing a little acting work on the side on bigger gigs, bigger productions. So that's been an experience. It's been really cool, actually. Can't believe like I've been doing this for 2 years. It feels like I've been doing it forever. But so Pete, man, I had a producer one day. I was meeting up with my rap folks, and he mentioned this. I was just thinking about this yesterday too. He mentioned this opportunity. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in a movie." I was like, "Oh, where? What? What's going on?" So I just asked him all about the details, and he told me, they might still be looking for people. So I just told him, just run the details. I'm excited. I didn't know if anybody else in the room was excited as me, but this was an industry I'd always been trying to get my feet into. So, it was kind of a toss up for sure. But I was definitely excited that I was about 1 degree of separation away from, such an opportunity. So I took it, got word back, sent in the details that they wanted, and got a date and a time to show up on set. And
Yo, how was that for you? Like, how was that experience? Did you get to meet Michael B?
Yeah, I was on set with Michael B. Jordan. That was wild. That was wild. So that was the first gig that I signed up for, but it wasn't the first gig that I worked. I ended up working as a background on the show Boots on Netflix, and that lasted for about three weeks consistently. But I came off that set, went right into Sinners, and here's a little thing about background work. So if you work on the bigger productions, they won't tell you who's, going to be in the scenes. You'll just know the day of, or if you could just pick up hints and just, hit hearsay, you'll find out. But most likely you won't know until you're actually on set. So, it was rumored that Michael B. and Ryan Coogler were, in Louisiana, but I didn't know. Usually it might not be day one, so people have been there, and somebody will know if they're coming from like a previous day. But first time I seen brother, I was like, wow, this Michael B. Jordan.
What is the most interesting experience since the last time we spoke? I'm not talking about like we did the video and stuff. I'm talking about like, because we ain't seen each other in a minute. We was freaking elsewhere. We were elsewhere. So
like a thing that I've seen since then that has kind of been like life changing. I'd say, it's been a lot, man. I feel like I've lived like 5 lifetimes since then, just to see everything evolve and just to see everything, come together in such a way. I feel like the wave that we were on at that point in time, a lot of people were maybe just starting to become aware of, like social issues and how important it was to build community and to just establish that infrastructure. And now I feel as if that people have gotten more comfortable to group up to really get in those communities and build those things that they're looking for. And I think it's just a telltale sign of saying like the things that we wanted to see always had to come from us. So I'd say that's the most prevalent, even with the things going on now that we're trying to build. Just happy to be a part and just to witness this great time, even though it's a lot and it's a lot of things we can't control. The things that we can have been beautiful, to say the least.
How did you come up with the name Absentee?
That's a great question. 10 years ago, actually. Yeah, around 10 years ago. I was going by my Instagram handle, which was like Outspoken Soul. Um, yeah, it's almost crazy to think like it's been that long. But Outspoken Soul, then I changed it to like Ronin Soul, trying to be all edgy and cool. And then I said to myself, if I'm gonna really like do this rap shit, I need something that people can identify me by actively. And the way I came about Absentee was I just felt like it was the hip hop thing to do, you know, like to have a cool word, but also just spell it in a different way. And so, yeah, I kind of sat in my room. I was at my mom's house at the time, placated, and was like, how do I make this? How do I make this hip hop? I feel like nobody's used this word to like name themselves, so I'll use this word and I'll just spell it differently. And boom, I just thought it was the coolest thing to do. I'd say Absentee is a platform. You know, it's a moniker, it's an identity, but it's a word that I've used to build just a lot of and store a lot of like my creative works under, at least with music, you know. But yeah, really just a save card, you know. Like I want everything creative that I can do that doesn't go under my real name to go under this name, and I feel like at this point, I wouldn't say it's a household name, but you know, it's common. People know the name.
They know absentee. How's your perspective on religion has changed or stayed the same or what have you?
Ooh, that's a good question. A lot. I feel as if like the way that I look at religion nowadays is I see it as just systems, you know. But I know a lot of people, but I respect it. You know, they're the same. Like it's just another form to practice, you know, or to get into a spiritual practice. And I came from a camp like all my youth. You know, I was in the church. Like mom took me to church every Sunday. Was in a cell group starting like from 5th grade going forward. And so I was very, you know, like harnessed in those spaces. And I think that just has shown throughout my identity. I have a high regard for Jesus, but there are some things that I want the church to really just look at and to review. And I feel like a lot more institutions are doing that, you know, in terms of being more open and accepting to reach the young people. But I also want those institutions to really feed back into their community, like how it was in the 70s and 80s, and not just be a place where people just come one day, you know, just to spend a little time together, get a good word, and then leave. No, I think it should. Those places like that should be a part of everyday life for people, whether they attend those services or not, because that's the whole thing Jesus Christ was trying to do in the first place. You know, was just to feed the people. And I feel like once those places get back to that, you'll see a big change.
What do you feel is more important, religion or spirituality?
I definitely say spirituality. I feel as if that a lot of people look at the structures and the foundations and they attribute it automatically to something greater. But you can be in the structure all day and not be a practitioner of the thing that you are, you know, a part of. And so, yeah, because me at this point, like, whether I'm in the structure, not a structure, a church, a monastery, synagogue, wherever I am, I know that, you know, it's on me to walk that path. And at the end of the day, you know, whatever lies ahead of us going forth after this life, we just got to be okay with the experience that we made here.
How would you think the world would be without religion?
Like without the religions that we have today.
Yeah, without like as far as like just religion. I mean, spirituality would still be there. It just people wouldn't. It wouldn't be so many different because it's a bunch of different like practices. It would just be people with their own individual idea of what I guess God is. Like, so you know, religion is more practice. Spirituality is the actual thing of believing and worshiping. I guess you can say
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like if there wasn't the institution surrounding, like that way of life, because to a lot of people it's a way of life. Like, and in turn, that's how I feel about it. Honestly, I feel if we didn't have religion, I think it would look a lot more like the Wild Wild West. So I do think institutions play a big part in how we go about interacting with our spirituality individually and collectively, but also I think it would just be more freeform. I also think we would not put so much into establishing like a hard, system for people. I think it would be a lot of conflict, but also at the same time, it would be a lot of freedom, and that would just come with the territory, in my opinion. Probably wouldn't have as many wars.
For facts, that was going to get me into my next point. How do you feel like the current president is doing right now, as far as like what we're experiencing as the people of America, and his hand in foreign interests and things of that nature, like overseas stuff? Like, how do you feel like it's a little political?
No, I feel you. I think at this point in his presidential career, Donald Trump has realized that he has to submit and to subscribe to powers bigger than him. And so, in order to keep the amount of power that he has, or even if he wants to increase that in a way, he has to keep submitting. And that's just through the nature of his dynamic. Even though we see him as a big figure and somebody with a lot of influence, we also have to realize that people, in that position are just as much as vessels as people who are, like lower on the train in that construct, So I definitely think we see Donald and we think it's all of his doing, but I feel like he's being influenced by a lot of different entities, Israel being one of them. I'll just keep it real. And to see that, like, it doesn't surprise me, I feel like whatever interests that he has, that he is going for, he just has to play that game. And it's unfortunate because I feel like we're in a period of time where a lot of people want to see radical change, in those systems, in those political systems. They want their government to represent them accurately, and to have somebody who's so, who seems so nearsighted and who seems so careless about human life, and who's so interested in protecting interest and property and all these other things that really isn't human life. I think just goes to show that we still have a lot of work to do, as people, and we can't necessarily depend on those people in power to account for us if we don't actively create for ourselves the experience that we want. And I think it prompts us as citizens to look into ways to start to remove ourselves from that, that system. Like, I'm familiar with people who are trying to protest war taxes, and how to go about that. There's a way to do that, but it's not really mainstream. So I feel like once we get more comfortable with learning and finding ways how to pull ourselves out without, like disrupt what we have going on, but to say with our money, with our words, with our actions that we don't agree with this, we get